Hi, welcome to Flicks Minute. Today I will tell you about an action thriller movie called Detour. I hope you like it. The movie begins with Harper, a law student taking a class on murder law. While the professor is explaining his material, Harper's mind seems to be somewhere else. After the class is over, his friend Paul approaches him, sharing his experience after trying liquid acid, which gives him a strong 18-hour effect. But Harper is not too interested, telling him that his mother is in a coma, making Paul feel guilty about being selfish, so he apologizes. That night, Harper goes to visit his mother in the hospital, who still hasn't shown any signs of waking up. He is overcome with deep sadness, read her a story, then went to a bar and got drunk. At that moment, a thug named Johnny suddenly approaches him since he is upset because Harper eavesdropped on his conversation with his friends. He intends to beat him up, but then Johnny finds it funny with him who talks carelessly because he is drunk. Johnny knows this rich boy is in need of entertainment, so he decides to take him to a club to introduce him to his friend Cherry. They choose a table and start an introductory conversation, where Johnny finds out that Harper is a college student who dreams of becoming a criminal defense attorney. Apart from that topic, Johnny asks Harper to be honest about the problems that are on his mind. Harper immediately reveals his frustration with his stepfather and the chronology of how it all started. 3 months ago, his mother and stepfather had a serious car accident that left his mother in a coma until now. They were drunk. The problem is, his stepfather only visited his mother once in the past 3 months, which makes Harper suspicious. When Harper finds out that his stepfather is having fun with a female bartender, Harper's suspicions grow stronger. In the end, Harper blames him for the accident. Knowing this, Johnny intends to take big profits from him. He offered to give his stepfather a fatal punishment for 20 grand, and Harper agreed. A moment later, Cherry appears at their table, but Johnny asks her to leave since things have changed with Harper. The next day, Harper, Johnny, and Cherry drove together to Las Vegas to carry out the plan they had agreed on the night before. Vincent is going on a business trip there that day. A few hours earlier at home, Harper had a small argument with Vincent because he still wouldn't visit his mother. Harper is upset, so he secretly put a kitchen knife in the bag that Vincent is going to take to Vegas. Not long after, he heard Vincent confess his love to someone, making Harper very suspicious. Present time, the three of them stopped at a cafe to eat. While Johnny went to the toilet, Cherry suggested Harper to leave immediately and cancel his plan. She warned him that dealing with Johnny wouldn't stop just by paying off the bill, because that's what happened to her. Johnny is a blackmailer who has many criminal friends. Earlier at home, Harper calls Paul to ask him to buy a bunch joints of weed for him. After being convinced that Vincent is going to Las Vegas, Harper plans to give him a lot of trouble at the airport. Back at the cafe, Harper's feelings are shattered when the doctor informs him that the second set of results show no brain function. The doctor tries to calm him down, complimenting him for sticking by his mother's side during her struggle. Harper is given time to make up his mind. Earlier at home, Harper hastily records evidence that Vincent forged Harper's mother's signature on her will. He then places the camera still on a wall shelf as Vincent angrily demands an explanation for the knife in his bag, but Harper presses him back, saying that he knows Vincent secretly forged his mother's signature on her will. Vincent admits it, arguing that he did it so that Harper wouldn't have to go through 5 years of litigation if they got bad news about his mother that day. Harper then mentions Vincent's affair with a female bartender, also accusing him of causing the car accident because he wanted Harper's mother dead. Vincent's anger escalates, leading them into a stepfather-son fight. Approaching the pool, Harper grabs a knife and stabs him, ending Vincent's life. In the present, the three are back driving on a long journey, but a policeman named Michael suddenly appears and pulls over their car. He finds drugs in Johnny's pocket and gets taunted by him, so Michael pushes him to the ground. His hands are already handcuffed. As Michael asks Cherry to open the trunk, Cherry points a gun at him and asks him to get in the trunk. She knows there is something in the trunk other than Michael. Earlier at home, the panicked Harper immediately tidied everything up. He brought Vincent's body into the house and wrapped it in a cloth. At that moment, the doorbell rang, so he hurriedly took off his shirt, which is covered in blood, and opened the door. It turned out to be Paul, who came to tell him that he couldn't get the weed he asked for, but he gave him the acid liquid they had talked about at the beginning, and left. Present time, Johnny is hell-bent on killing Michael and he wants Harper to do it. That way, he knows which side Harper is on. But first, Harper goes to the bank to withdraw 25 grand in 2 envelopes. One envelope contains 5 grand and the other contains 20 grand. He gives Johnny the 5 grand as a down payment, 10 grand to bribe him not to kill Michael, and the rest he will pay off in Vegas. They then stop by again at the headquarters of a drug dealer named Frank, because Johnny has to pay off his debt of 50 grand. Johnny gives him the 5 grand, but Frank refuses, asking him to come back with the full amount, or he will take Cherry from him. Earlier at home, Harper put Vincent's body in the trunk and cleaned up the blood on the floor. A moment later, Johnny and Cherry arrived to carry out the plan they agreed on at the club. Harper initially intended to cancel the plan to shoot Vincent, but when he remembered the mine shaft that was rarely visited by people, he got an idea. He then took Johnny and Cherry to the garage to use his father's car for their trip to Las Vegas. Johnny never knew that Vincent's body is in the trunk. Present time, the three arrive at the mine shaft Harper is heading to, where Harper mixes liquid acid into bottled water. He tells Johnny that the liquid can cause powerful hallucination, making the user lose the ability to distinguish between fiction and reality for a week. That way, they will be safe from Michael's testimony in court. Soon after, Harper takes a frightened Michael out of the trunk, gives him a drink, and lets him go. After arriving in Las Vegas, the three quickly check into a hotel room. While Johnny goes to the bar, Harper arranges a meeting if Cherry wants to run away with him, and the two quickly change clothes. Harper buys a prepaid cell phone, then pretends to be a valet while he calls the police, reporting a suspicious object in the trunk of the car. Then Harper rents a car and waits for Cherry in the driveway. But Cherry's path is blocked when Johnny arrives at the room with a man that Cherry is supposed to serve. At that time, the police had arrived at the parking lot and found a body plus a police hat in Harper's car. Not long after, Cherry hurriedly approached Harper and told him that the police had arrested Johnny on murder charges. They let Cherry go because they thought she is a prostitute. After that, Harper immediately drove the car heading to Mexico, while Johnny, who knew nothing about the body, is put in a cell. When the sun rises, Frank still hasn't received the money promised by Johnny, so he ordered his men to bring Cherry to his headquarters. At the gas station, Harper asked Cherry not to continue the journey with him because he thought the police would find him. Despite his sadness, Harper continues his journey alone. He likes her. Meanwhile, at Harper's residence, the police have secured the scene and begun investigating. When Cherry is waiting for the bus, Frank's men appeared across the street, so she prepared her gun. She hates Frank. As the man stepped into the road, a high-speed container car crashed into him, ending his life instantly. Then Harper, who changed his mind, came to pick her up, bringing the girl to live on the run with him. They made it to Mexico without a hitch. At the hospital, Harper's mother received a voice recording from Vincent just before he was killed. The contents of the account revealed Vincent's regret that he never accompanied her because he wasn't strong enough to see her in a coma. Vincent also expressed his good intentions that he would take good care of Harper if something happened to her later. While the sound recording continued, in Mexico, Harper threw away the camera containing the evidence of the murder he committed to the sea. At the festival, Michael is having fun dancing with everyone under the influence of liquid acid. This is where the movie ends. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.